This is what I'm writing up for the radio tomorrow. This is my favorite scientific side quest. It's been going on throughout 2025. It's the drunken monkey hypothesis. This latest paper has figured out how much alcohol wild chimpanzees consume. The drunken monkey hypothesis is this idea that at some point in our evolutionary history, we had an ancestor that suddenly had a mutation that allowed them to exploit ethanol-rich food, so fruit that's been fermenting for a while, which may have opened the door to all these evolutionary pathways, including stuff that has led to the cultures of feasting and drinking we see in modern day humans. The new paper has now tried to quantify exactly how much alcohol chimpanzees in the wild might be consuming. They looked at two populations, one on the west of Africa, one in the east of Africa, and tried to figure it. They went through 20 species of fruiting plants that the chimpanzees in the wild were eating and calculated the alcohol content within them and then calculated how much of them the chimps were eating. They found for a start that these chimps seem to prefer fruits that have higher ethanol content than other fruit that's available, including figs and types of plums. But in terms of how much alcohol the chimps are actually consuming, for the average chimpanzee is eating about 4.5 kilograms of fruit per day, which equates to about 14 grams of ethanol. So a standard international drink or an Australian drink are both 10 grams of alcohol. For American, I think it's a bit higher. So I think the 14 grams that the chimps are eating is about 1 American standard or 1.4 international and Australian standard. So it's not a huge amount of alcohol, but the chimps are also much smaller than we are. They weigh on average as an adult about 40 kilograms. So if it affects them in a similar way to us, they're consuming more in the realm of like what 2 standards or 2 and a bit standards would be in a human. However, because they're consuming so much food to get that much alcohol, their stomach probably gets filled before the alcohol would start affecting them in any way that we would recognize as being similar to being drunk.